It's fantasy football draft season. We're approaching the holiday weekend, and we're looking at those late round gems in our drafts, those wide receivers, those running backs. We're getting our lottery ticket dart throws. We're diversifying between drafts, and some of you guys got questions and you want more deep dives on those players. Today, by request, we got one on Tory Horton, wide receiver from the Seattle Seahawks, and I'm excited to dig into his prospect profile with you guys so you can get the advanced analytics so you can determine whether or not you want him for your fantasy football team. Before we dig in, though, you need to click that subscribe button right now. We're doing deep dives every day. We're looking behind the scenes. We're looking at the advanced analytics, and we're seeing what these players are about to see whether or not we want them. On top of that, draft strategies, even though drafts are about wrapped up. On top of that, we're going to help you find those gems off the waiver wire by combing through the advanced analytics and try and get them a week early. And then on top of that, we look at the matchups game by game. Try to predict the matchup so we can see which players are more likely to hit during those games. Click that button. Stop missing out. It's free. Ric Flair's always here. He's not going to leave you either. So don't disrespect him. But Tory Horton is a wide receiver throughout minicamp, OTAs, rookie camp, back in May. You've been hearing about him. That's one thing. You've been hearing about Tory Horton all off season long. You've been hearing about him. We talked about him, and he didn't get any clip videos because there weren't very many clips. Seattle was very tight. You got a lot of Jalen Milroe. You didn't get much of anybody else. But through the beat writers and during Jalen Milroe videos, I would drop you a little Tory Horton a little bit here and there during those videos. But you were hearing some good things about him during his time in May, OTAs, minicamp, training camp. This is a wide receiver that has some good things to his prospect profile. Also wins the number 3 job. And he's been climbing up the board. Beat out a veteran, MVS. So MVS, not a horrible wide receiver. He's been around the league. So that's a gatekeeper on a roster. So what you want to do when you're watching training camp, OTAs, minicamp, and you're watching my videos when I'm doing the clips and I'm covering what they're doing, is you want to see if they're beating out the gatekeepers. There will be gatekeepers on the roster. Can they beat out that gatekeeper? And he did it. That is a very good sign. He beat out a veteran. That is a very good sign. And we went to Nevada to start things off. We were not heavily recruited. Per 24/7 Sports, 3 offers, probably more than that. You look at the 40 time, you look at the vertical. One thing about that, that's at the opening, 2019. A lot of these kids don't train up for that, so you're not going to get the exact times per the speed. That's something you really want to look at the tape and the highlights for, see if it matches. Sometimes a guy will run fast on the 100, because we don't get 40 times as much as often, and it does not equate to game speed. Sometimes guys look faster on tape than what their numbers suggest. At Nevada, you look at the numbers there. We're going to go a little deeper that here in a few minutes, but 659 yards, 5 touchdowns that final year, 52 receptions. We go to Colorado State. Colorado State is a sneaky team when it comes to producing wide receivers. Like Michael Gallup, a few others. They are a sneaky team. They will bring wide receivers to the league. That's the thing about Colorado State. 1,100 yards, 8 touchdowns. 1,100 yards again, 8 touchdowns. 353, we get hurt, we get banged up. Very productive wide receiver. We can be dominant. 227, 196, 186, 186, 168, 158, 148. Yards just dropping on teams. Very productive wide receiver. Very dominant. Not just the jabroni teams, but Colorado, Wyoming, Fresno State. You see those in there, but you got Cal in there. You got some other teams like Oregon State. Again, not a big school, but he's dropping it on everybody. Washington State in there. You look at the market share. This is what you want to look at. Breakout age 18. 23.8% market share. Nevada's passing production that second year where he caught 52 balls. So he broke out with 2 different collegiate programs because instantly, like we went from one school to another, instantly broke out and got a 39.6% market share of Colorado State's passing production, which is elite. That is top tier. And at age 19, and then at age 20, we do it again, 39.8%. And then in 2024, we get hurt. That being said, that is a solid career. So we get an early breakout age. We're dominant. We break out with 2 different collegiate programs. On top of that, we have proven we can go from one level to another, one program to another, system to another, and still produce, develop rapidly. From high school to Nevada, does not take much time for him to ramp up and become dominant. From Nevada to Colorado State, does not take much time for him to ramp up and be dominant. Now we're starting to see some indicators right now at the NFL level, and that does not mean he'll be dominant, but it's also a prerequisite of players who have done things in the league at wide receiver. Not going to say top tier production, but a prerequisite of wide receivers that can get on the field, because you have to be good at college to be able to be good in the pros. And more dominant you are, the better. And the quicker you can get dominant, the even better. But that's not always the case. It's more like a prerequisite. But he's proven that he can download a new system, facilities, everything in line that you're probably not thinking about, and then produce, beat out guys on the depth chart, and rise up. 2024, we were hurt. So that's something to put into the numbers. That's also one of the reasons why they were able to catch him at a cheap cost. That's something to think about. Cheap cost as in not being drafted as high because he fell to the 5th round. Still missing most of that season, coming back from the injury, going into the 5th round. 4.41 40-yard dash is 6'3". And you look at the dominator rating, that's like the market share statistics we just looked at. 38.7% dominator rating. That's with touchdowns included. 80th percentile target share, 84th percentile. Breakout age, they got at 19.8 at 70th percentile. So very close with what I got. That being said, Tory Horton had a great career. Great career. And this is a wide receiver, metrically, has proven to be a good prospect. A guy to pay attention to. And you're looking at this roster here. You got Jackson Smith-Njigba, Cooper Kupp, Tory Horton. Now the wide receiver 3. Per player profiler, they're in wide receiver 3 wide receiver sets, 80.9% of the time. So he's going to be out there a good bit running routes. So he will be getting opportunity. And Jackson Smith-Njigba is a good wide receiver. He broke out last year, almost 15 points per game. 4 wide receiver 1 weeks, 3 wide receiver 2 weeks. Not many down games. He's just steady. 24.1% target share, ADOT of 8.7. Keep that in mind. A shorter average depth of target because you got Cooper Kupp there. ADOT last year, 7.6. Also, his charts from the last 3 years of production. He's averaging 16.4 points per game. He's a good wide receiver. But you're noticing there's space in all the charts. And under me, right below me, it's kind of small. Just zoom in a little bit. But we got an injury history, which we all know. But it's right there documented. He's a good wide receiver. He's going to be out there. He's going to be running routes. That does not mean there's going to be opportunities due to him getting injured. But it also means, historically, the last 3 years, that there's a good chance. There's a better chance than some young 22-year-old coming in the league fresh. He's 32 years old right now. And then you're looking at the average depth of targets. Both of these 2 wide receivers are below 10. So who are they going to use to stretch the field among these 3 wide receivers? Who are they going to use? The guy who runs the 4.41 at 6'3"? Or are they going to use Cooper Kupp? They're going to put him on the outside and have him run them 9 routes. Who are they going to use? Jackson Smith-Njigba might get a little deeper ADOT, allow Cooper Kupp to cook a little bit more on the underneath. That might happen. He might get his ADOT pushing around 10. But if you're looking for an ADOT around 11, 12-ish, something higher, you may want to look at Tory Horton for that case for this team. So when you think about that, those deeper targets, even if the volume is volatile due to these 2 wide receivers being in the offense, that is an indicator that he can give you splashy production because you bring in 1 or 2 deep balls here and there in these games. That's big production. He could sneak into wide receiver 1 territory in those weeks, top end wide receiver 2 territory, bringing in deep touchdowns, a couple deep bombs. You look at this team last year. DK Metcalf's gone. Tyler Lockett's gone. That's like 180-some targets gone from this team. Both those wide receivers, double-digit ADOTs. Different quarterback right now. However, Jack Smith-Njigba, 8.7 ADOT, 1,100 yards, he's there. You got about 1,600 yards gone from this offense as well. Cooper Kupp's going to get some of it. He's not going to get all of it all because DK Metcalf got those deep shots. So those deep targets, those opportunities, that's got to go somewhere. Cooper Kupp's going to get that short game work. Jack Smith-Njigba is probably going to get short game to a little bit more deeper stuff because they got Cooper Kupp. And Jack Smith-Njigba is good. He's a good wide receiver. But we're looking for dart throws. If we're looking for obvious, the obvious is getting drafted early. So you got to think it on those spectrums. When you're looking at offensive stats here, and you're looking at Seattle here, they're in the middle of the chart. I tried to have it highlighted here, but they're averaging 40 pass attempts a game, 40 pass plays, 63 plays per game. They're not a slow-paced offense. Also depends on game script and the run of games that they're going to be in. But they'll throw the rock. That's what it's saying. They throw it 63% of the time. Over 37% rushing attempts. So that's something to pay attention to. There is some volume here to be had. They do want to run the ball a lot. They do throw it a lot to the running backs. Kenneth Walker ran a lot of routes last year, about 20-some routes a game. He was getting a lot of targets. Charbonnet can be used in the passing game. You're looking at what they do in neutral game script, and it holds up. So you're wondering, well, what about those games and these games? Neutral game script, it holds up. They're throwing it at a 59% rate versus 41% run rate. They're running 34 pass plays in neutral game script per game versus 23 run plays. And they're fairly fast. They're a faster-paced team than what a lot of teams realize, or analysts, because their 28.4 seconds between snaps is in the top third of the league. Fairly fast. I didn't say they're super fast. Fairly fast. That is fair. 59% pass rate during these situations. Maybe they stay around that number, but that is also an indicator of the Seattle Seahawks. You're looking at where he's going in drafts. 15 round on underdog. So a lot of home league drafts, he's probably not getting drafted. That's the case. A lot of home league drafts, he's probably slipping through the cracks. Wide receiver 3 of Seattle. That makes sense. Wide receiver 3s, hard to make an investment in. We're also looking at lottery ticket dart throws in this range. We got a lot of running backs. So you're really looking at this like, hey, where do I want to invest my lottery ticket spot at? Personally, me, I'm doing a lot of these running backs. It's a very good running back class, a very deep class, probably the best running back class of all time. Like, everybody's jumping the shark for Ja'Cory Crosskey-Merritt. There's probably going to be a few more Ja'Cory Crosskey-Merritts this season once injuries start to hit. That's just how it's going to look like this year. That's how good this running back class is. Like, if we had, like, DJ Giddens in last year's running back class, he would have jumped some rounds. He's a good handcuff. Jonathan Taylor. Woody Marks has been climbing the draft board. Tory Horton, Pat Bryant, Isaac Tesla. Those are some young wide receivers from this year's class who are drawing rave reviews. Alec Aomanor, another one. Volume with the Titans. That's something to pay attention to. Tory Horton is a lottery ticket player, and you're just putting that dart throw on him. You're putting that chip on him. The thing about having a lottery ticket spot on your bench, 1 or 2, depending, what your draft is giving you. On top of that, you got 16 rounds. You only got like 1 spot, 2 spots, 3 spots if you want to be aggressive with lottery tickets. There are leagues where I will be aggressive with lottery tickets and get 3. On average, I'll do 2 and be a little bit more aggressive than other years like last year, due to how deep this running back class is. There are dart throws here at wide receiver, and they could sneak up on you. And Tory Horton, if you're looking for that next young wide receiver that hits, he will get some deep shots downfield. There's also ways you can use him. Daily fantasy football is probably going to be great for a wide receiver like this, especially the start of the season, before injuries, if they even kick in. It's because those deep shots. Because in those matchups where Seattle's in an over-under game, say it's got like a 47, 48 over-under on Vegas, you look at the DBs, they're getting torched the last couple weeks. You're going to throw him in the lineup. He's going to be worth not so much. That's going to allow you to stack in other players. Big tournament, not cash. If he hits that week, that's going to be huge because the odds of those other players that you paid up for, since they're high priced, the odds are in their favor. They're probably going to make some money that week. And those are max entry tournaments, big tournaments where you're submitting a lot of lineups. I think he's going to be great for best ball if you're still drafting best ball. I think lineup setting, you don't absolutely need them, but you also need lottery tickets, and you got to make the decision of which running backs and which wide receivers or what positional route you want to go with. This is another lottery ticket to look at. You do need to know him. You do need to know him. You do need to watch this video from beginning to end to know who this guy is. You definitely need to know. He's a dart throw. You got to know he's a dart throw. You don't need him because he is a dart throw. You can only hold so many dart throws. But by doing these videos, it lets you know which dart throws that you want because they're ultimately dart throws. They got good things in their characteristics, their profile that could allow them to hit. Like, you can't call it out when they'll hit or if they'll hit. Like, I can't call out if Cooper Kupp will actually get hurt this year or Jackson Smith and Jigba. Like, I can't say, hey, week 3, one of them's gone. I can't do that. That's ignorant. That is an ignorant statement to allow him to get thrust into more opportunity. But I can definitely tell you that he's going to have an average depth of target above 10 and that he's going to get some deep shots downfield. He might make some plays that will really cause gamers to pull him up off the waiver wire. He might have that. He might be volatile. Volatile to some people is scary. To others, they get excited. If you get scared of that, then you may want to stay away because you may not set your lineups correctly. If you're excited, you're thinking DFS money. This could be $1 million player. This could be $1 million player in terms that if he wins a big tournament for you, you're racking in some cash. Maybe a $25,000 pot or something. That's also why I do these. This is not just always your traditional 12-team, 16-rounders. You also got to understand, like, this is a different channel. People come here for Dynasty. Like, I'll talk redraft Dynasty questions because I do Dynasty. I'm very known for I got a Dynasty shirt on. On top of that, DFS. Best ballers watch it because I am giving the news from training camp, OTAs, mini camp, and fantasy in those terms. When you're talking about all these formats, beauty is in eyes of the beholder and what you're trying to do. There's some people in 20-team leagues, they come to my channel because I'm just going deeper and I'm just relaying news, information, and facts to help them make decisions. So, in those terms, all these players need a light shined on them, just like a Tory Horton. You have to digest the data. You have to do the work yourself as well. This helps you. This is going to help you get stronger in those facets. The steroids don't do the work. You got to get in the gym. You got to do your diet. You got to do all that. This is part of the steroids for your game. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I want to hear about that. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on the way out. Thank you for watching. Catch you on the next video.